going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. We got a lot to cover today, as usual, so let's jump right in. We got the NBA playoffs continuing last night. The second round. The Heat beat the Sixers 99-90. Heat win that series in 6 games. Jimmy Butler, 32 points, 8 rebounds. He has been so good this postseason. I think heading into last night, he was averaging like 28 points a game, I think like 7 rebounds, like 5 assists, like 2+ steals. He's been a beast in this playoffs. We also had the Mavericks did force Game 7 against the Phoenix Suns. They beat the Suns 113-86. Luka Doncic, 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. DeAndre Ayton, 21 points, 11 rebounds in the loss. So that series will be going to Game 7. We had some drama after the Heat and Sixers. I think a reporter at the Philadelphia 76ers head coach, Doc Rivers, who's been rumored to be in the hot seat if the Sixers lost early on in the playoffs. Of course, he's blown a lot of leads in his day in the playoffs. And he got very testy with the reporter because he's saying, I don't worry about my job. I'm proud of what I've done. But if you want to write something, write it and roll with it. I don't care. He got a little testy. And then they asked Joel Embiid about James Harden. And James Harden did say in his press conference after the game, he said, I'll be here. So he appears to not have any plans of leaving. That being said, that was before Joel Embiid's press conference, where Joel Embiid said that, I'm not sure if this may not be word for word, but he's like, when we got him, everyone was expecting him to be the Houston James Harden. Of course, guy was an absolute assassin in Houston. Got about 30, 40 points on a dime. He won an MVP there. Then he goes, but he's just not that guy anymore. He said he's more of a playmaker. So he basically said, James Harden is not as good as he used to be. So that was very, very interesting from Joel Embiid. So their offseason got really, really interesting now for the Philadelphia 76ers. If you're James Harden, he could either just say, you know what, he's right, I'm not. I'm fine with being, the second option to Joel Embiid. But if he still thinks he's Houston James Harden, now does Harden change course and bolt and go somewhere else anywhere he can try to be the first option. So we'll see what he does. I believe his player option, it looks like he's probably going to exercise. I think it's worth over $40 million, I think. So, but if you're the Sixers, I don't see how you could give James Harden a max contract. He did not play well at all. And it appears he might not be the same player. Joel Embiid, should he have said it? Probably not. I don't think it's a great look for Joel Embiid. But he might be right, whether it's a good look for him or not. I think he's right. First of all, until James Harden gets into basketball shape, he is not in good shape. I don't like to poke fun at people's weight, but he's a professional basketball player. He needs to be in the best shape he could be in, and he's clearly not in the best shape that he could possibly be in, which is embarrassing for a player of James Harden's caliber. And also, when he was in really good top shape in Houston, he was probably top 3 player in the game, at least top 5 player in the game. And now he's not, and he looks like a shell of his former self. Even in Brooklyn, he wasn't the same guy. I think this year he was averaging 22 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, which is still very good. But this wasn't the guy that's giving you 28 points, 29 points a game, is, having these 20, 30 game streak of 30-plus points. He's, going on, 2, 3, 4 week stretches where he's averaging 40, 50 points a game. So he's just not the same player. He just isn't. Can he change that narrative? Maybe, if he gets himself in shape and goes out next year and balls out. If he's able to do that, with Joel Embiid and James Harden together, that's going to be scary. But if not, then this team will probably be in the same spot they were this year. A very good team, but just not good enough. And even Houston Harden didn't really show up in the playoffs. So, very interesting offseason in Philly. Heat move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. They will play the winner of Milwaukee and Boston. Whoever wins that series, Suns and Mavericks go to Game 7. As for tonight, second round continues in the NBA. Boston Celtics and Milwaukee Bucks, Game 6. Milwaukee leads 3-2. That game is in Milwaukee. Milwaukee has a chance to knock out the Celtics. I think it'll be a bit of an upset. On paper, Milwaukee probably should have won the series, but without Chris Middleton, I thought Boston would win the series. And Milwaukee has a chance to win the series, and the game and the series may not even go 7 games. So we'll see what happens tonight. That's at 7:30 on ESPN. And then at 10 o'clock on ESPN, we have Grizzlies and Warriors Game 6. Golden State leads 3-2. Golden State has a chance to go back to the Western Conference Finals. Memphis trying to force Game 7. Of course, they are down 3-1 at one point, so that's a huge game tonight. So 2 big games on tonight for the NBA playoffs. Should be very exciting. As for the NHL playoffs, the first round continued last night. We had the Bruins beat the Hurricanes 5-2 in Game 6. They forced Game 7. So that's a big win for Boston. Lightning beat the Maple Leafs 4-3 in overtime. That was a back-and-forth game. Lightning were up at one point. Then, the last minute of the second period, Toronto scored 2 quick. John Tavares put them ahead. Tampa was able to tie it in the third period. Nikita Kucherov and then Braden Point scored the game winner in overtime. So Lightning forced Game 7 against Toronto. And the Blues beat the Wild 5-1 in Game 6. They win that series in 6 games. They will move on and face the Colorado Avalanche in the second round of the playoffs. I was a little bit surprised. I thought Minnesota was going to win that series. I thought they could have had a deep playoff run, even going possibly to the Stanley Cup final. So it's not a huge upset. Wow, I think we're a 2 seed and Blues were the 4. But it's a mild upset by the St. Louis Blues. Minnesota Wild, they're so irrelevant. Every year, they're a solid team. They look good. They're a team that could be trouble in the playoffs, have a chance for a deep playoff run, and every year they lose in the first or the second round. They're so irrelevant. Edmonton Oilers beat the Los Angeles Kings 4-2. Oilers force Game 7. So they stay alive. As for tonight, first round continues. Rangers Penguins at 7 o'clock on TNT. Game 6, Penguins with 3-2. Penguins have some injuries, though. Sidney Crosby suffered an upper body injury after taking that hit from Jacob Trouba in Game 5. He will not play in Game 6 tonight. As for, there also some other injuries. Brian Dumoulin, who's one of their best defensemen, he will not play either. Rickard Rakell is a game-time decision. And still not Tristan Jarry, Louis Domingue will once again be in goal for the Penguins. So hopefully the Mighty Rangers can force Game 7. We'll see what happens. 7:30 on TBS. Panthers Capitals. Game 6, Florida leads 3-2. It's weird. Washington at times has looked better than Florida, but Florida has come from behind, won 2 games in a row. And they have a chance to close out the Capitals in Game 6 tonight. Washington trying to force a Game 7. And 9:30 on TNT, Flames and Stars, Game 6, Calgary leads 3-2. I'll do my game picks for tonight. I'm going to pick the Rangers. I'm a little biased because I'm a huge Rangers fan, but I think the Penguins are really banged up tonight. They're going to have some trouble against the Rangers. Rangers look a lot better in Game 5. Looked a little better defensively. The getting back Ryan Lindgren was a big piece to get back for the Rangers. Penguins have a lot of injuries, including probably their best player, Sidney Crosby. So I'll take the Rangers to win Game 6. They force Game 7. Florida and Washington. On paper, I think Florida should win, but I'm actually going to take Washington. I think they're going to learn from the first 2 games, not the first 2, the last 2 games, rather, that they've pretty much blown. They've blown leads in back-to-back games, and they'll force a Game 7. They've played very well by series. I think Florida will still come out in 7. This is a series that probably should have went 5 games. And now Florida has to win at least Game 6, if not Game 7. Calgary and Dallas. I thought this was a shot to go 7 off the bat. Calgary's a fantastic team. And Dallas is a really good team as well. They're only ranked, I think, 7th in the West, but they're really good defensively. Anton Khudobin a couple years ago was their goalie when they had a deep playoff run. He played really well in place of Ben Bishop a couple years ago. He's did a really good job in that. They're really good defensively. They're a kind of smash mouth kind of team that hits you in the mouth. They're aggressive. They're good defensively. But Calgary looks like the better team in the series. I thought they played really well in Game 5, especially in that third period, scoring 3 goals. So I'll take the Flames to finish up the series in Game 6. That's what we got for the NHL playoffs. Let's move on to MLB. We got some scores from yesterday. We had the Orioles over the Cardinals 3-2. We had the Mets over the Nationals 4-1. Athletics over the Tigers 5-3. Astros over the Twins 11-3. And they had a doubleheader. Astros swept the doubleheader. They won the other game 5-0. Reds over the Pirates 4-0. Rangers over the Royals 3-1. Yankees over the White Sox 15-7. And Phillies over the Dodgers 9-7. Phillies were up 7-1 that game, and for the second time in 2 weeks, with a 7-1 lead. But on the top of the ninth, they were able to get 2 runs back and end up winning the game. Let's get into the standings in the MLB. Twins lead the Central. They're 18-14. Those Tigers, 9-23. They are the worst team in the American League. They have been terrible this year. American League East, Yankees 23-8, best team in baseball. Wow. Rays look good, 19-13. Toronto slowing down a bit. Red Sox 11-20. They are the third worst team in the American League. That's just tough. Houston Nationals have won 10 straight games. Wow. Dusty Baker is now 10th full-time in wins among MLB managers. Los Angeles Angels have been 21-12. They are the third best team in the American League. That's a big surprise. Seattle's struggling, 14-18. They're really struggling right now. And by the way, I just got an alert that Sixers president Daryl Morey announced that head coach Doc Rivers will return for next season. I'm not sure if I agree with that. He's not a bad coach, Doc Rivers, as a short-term option to get your team back on track, a team that be rebuilding, to get them back to into playoff contention. He's fine, but he's not, this amazing head coach. Ever since he won a ring in 2008 the Celtics, which, by the way, he had Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. That's at least 3 Hall of Famers, in my opinion. Ray Allen is obviously already in the Hall of Fame. I think Paul Pierce is a Hall of Famer. Kevin Garnett, of course, is already in the Hall of Fame. I don't think Rajon Rondo is a Hall of Famer, but he's borderline, sort of. And he was a fantastic player. Kendrick Perkins was a really good player on that team. It's some other good players on that team. That's a fantastic team he had. Besides that, he hasn't really done much. Almost teams with the Clippers to not even go to the finals with that team, I think, is pretty bad. And he's been knocked out of the playoffs early twice with the Sixers. Last year, I thought they easily could have went to the finals. Should not have lost in the second round against Atlanta. And this year, the Miami Heat at times were battling some injuries, and they still couldn't take advantage. I know, Joel Embiid was playing hurt. Just that James Harden, just not a good fit there, it looks like. That's what we got going on in Philadelphia for the Sixers. That's MLB. Let's see what's going on at the Brian Nelson right now. The tournament kicked off yesterday. Last tournament before the PGA Championship. Should be a lot of fun. I'm kind of rooting. I'm rooting for Cameron Smith. He's a really good player. He's had a great year, and he was very close at the Masters. Wow, he's got some big scores. We got Ryan Palmer. Wow, he's 15 under par. Wow, so some very impressive scores. He's the leader right now. He's got a one-shot lead over David Skins, Justin Lower is 2 back, and Charles Schwartzel, a more Masters winner, is also only 2 back right now. That's what we got going on at the Brian Nelson tournament. We also have the NFL schedule released last night, so let's give you a little preview of what went on with the schedule. Obviously, I'm not going to go through all 272 games, whatever it is. But the first game to open the season, this is not the first game, but the Rams will have their first 3. Games will all be at home. Ooh, we got Rams-Bills. Oh, the opening game is Rams and Bills, Thursday, September 8th. Thursday Night Football to open the year. That's really, really impressive. That's a really impressive first game for the NFL. Obviously, you know how good the AFC West is. There's going to be 19 primetime games featuring the AFC West. That's insane. That's the second most for any division since the Super Bowl era, which is since 1966. Wow. Rams and Chargers will play their first game against each other since they moved into the same stadium together. Let's see. We have a couple of interstate matchups. Pittsburgh Steelers and Philadelphia Eagles play on October 30th, day before Halloween, and Dallas Cowboys play the Houston Texans on December 11th. As for some teams who has some hard schedules, Cleveland Browns appear to have pretty easy schedule this year. Like they're in the early part of the season, they're going to have the Carolina Panthers, New York Jets, and Atlanta Falcons, who are all very bad. 3 games they should probably win. They got and even this is the first 4 games. They're going to play Panthers, Jets, Falcons, and they also have a Thursday Night Football against the Steelers, September 22nd. I mean, Pittsburgh, that's a rivalry game within their division. Pittsburgh's not awful, but I think Cleveland, as long as they have Deshaun Watson, if he's there for them, they should probably win that game. They could even go 4-0. East North is actually a very tough division. You got Cincinnati, who was in the Super Bowl last year and looks even better after they added to their offensive line. They have the Ravens, who are very good if they're healthy, could easily be in the playoffs. And Cleveland, if they have to show Watson there the whole year, could be a very good team. The Seattle Seahawks are going to be traveling a lot. Looks like that was really funny. I'm not sure if you saw the Seahawks dropped a fake schedule to their players like a while before the schedule came out. They were going to be playing according to their fake schedule that the Seahawks tricked their players with. They're going to be playing on Thanksgiving. They're going to be playing on Christmas, and their bye week was in week 5, so that's the earliest bye week, I believe. And they would have to play like the Sunday right after the Germany game, which doesn't make a lot of sense since obviously Germany game's going to be at 9:30, and they would have the jet lag traveling between countries. So that was pretty funny. But they are playing in Germany. That's a true statement. November 13th, they will be playing against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. By the way, Broncos Seahawks week 1. So Russell Wilson's first game with the Broncos against the Seattle Seahawks. That will be interesting. Got the Green Bay Packers will have some very interesting home games. They are going to host New England Patriots. So Belichick and the Patriots will head to Lambeau at one point. Dallas Cowboys, two very old franchises with Green Bay and Dallas. Rams Packers, that should be an excellent matchup. Tennessee and Green Bay should be an excellent matchup. And the Jets will be going to Green Bay. As a Jets fan, I think they look better in past years. Probably the Packers are going to be on Monday Night Football this year. It's the 30th straight year they will appear on Monday Night Football. Wow. We have some. The announced teams are going to look a little bit different. Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, who for 4 years have been on Fox Sports together, they are now going to be moving networks. They are now on ESPN, so they will now be announcing Monday Night Football instead of what did they do? They did Fox Sports. Did they do? No, Sunday night was always Al Michaels and Collinsworth, and then they did Thursday Night Football. They did Thursday night. They will no longer do Thursday night. They will now do Monday Night Football. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. So and now seems to look a little bit different. Al Michaels will no longer do Sunday Night Football. He is now with Amazon Prime, so it looks like he'll be doing some Thursday Night Football. Can you believe Al Michaels is 77 years old? Can you believe that? What a legend! But it appears Collins is still there. He looks like he'll be with Mike Tirico on Sunday Night Football. Joe Buck and Troy can move to Monday Night Football. Thursday night, I'm not too sure what they're going to do. It's right. Monday night, last couple of years, it's been Louis Riddick, Brian Griese, and Steve Levy. I know Brian Griese was actually hired by the San Francisco 49ers to be their quarterbacks coach. Remember, he's an ex-quarterback. His dad was Bob Griese, who was the quarterback of the undefeated 1972 Dolphins team. And so he left. I don't think Levy's going to come back, and I don't know about Louis Riddick. I mean, he's more of an analyst than an announcer, to be honest. I'm surprised he's not a GM yet. I think he'll be a GM probably next couple of years in the NFL. So the NFL now seems like a little different. I think Sean Payton might be on Fox Sports. Not sure who else. Drew Brees did a lot of announcing. He did a lot of, I think, the Sunday Night Football, like the pregame, and then he did a little bit of play-by-play. So I think we might see a little more Drew Brees doing play-by-play. I thought it was pretty good last year. So NFL now seems to look a little bit different this year. Some guys that work for different networks and things like that. We got some games on Christmas this year. And the Chiefs actually, their first 8 games are all against teams that had winning records last year. So that's going to be tough. Everyone in the AFC West is going to have a tough schedule no matter what, because they got to play each other twice. And every team in the division is very good. So that's what's going on with the NFL schedule. That's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until tomorrow, so long, and have a great day.